Hello, everybody. This is Bill Thomas, and welcome to this episode of Leadership Power Paradigms. I'm going to begin in just a few quick seconds. So, if you give me a moment to get my bits and pieces together here in the old, what do we call it? The old control room here. Uh, we're going to begin in really just a few seconds. So, oh, hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Leadership Power Paradigms. This is Bill Thomas, your host and presenter for today's episode. And the real question for today's episode is this: can we dissect social intelligence of a young man who was a prisoner, examine the genesis of understanding and knowledge, conduct a comprehensive tutorial on the science of sociology, map out and diagram the structure of leadership authority, explain the foundation for a Nobel Prize economist's theory, describe the 5 essential tasks of leadership, and model the process of handling the major challenges facing all leaders, and of course, catalog 10 great ways to strengthen your social IQ and do all these things in 14 or so minutes? I don't know if we can, but let's try. Many years ago, before the fall of the Babylonian Empire, the people of Israel were taken captive and held as prisoned people by the king of Babylon. That king Nebuchadnezzar wanted additional advisors taken from the best young men of those captured Israelis. As we see in verse 4, the king wanted young men with the strength of mind, spirit, and body, who possessed naturally wise insights, who had the ability to serve as counselors, advisors, and teachers in the Babylonian king's palace, help the king unravel the trends and societal patterns affecting his empire, and manage the affairs of his kingdom. In short, Daniel and his 3 other companions were blessed by God with many aspects of powerful abilities, strengths, and insightful intuitions that today's leaders need to learn, improve, and master. These ideas were adapted from the works of consultant Glenn Dietzel and Dr. David Weinberger. We can think that we acquire knowledge from a combination of information plus experience. We get understanding comes through sympathetic knowledge fueled by a desire to learn and connection to larger or wider contexts. Wisdom, which is a result of self reflection and revelation and knowledge and understanding. When we first sympathize with the speakers and writers we engage with, we will begin to learn more about their perspectives, insightful conclusions, and dreams and desires for new or better things. In many ways, sympathetic reading and conversing are shortcuts to learning additional things about our own world and the world that others see, think about, and move around in. When you combine sympathy, empathy, and a self reflective attitude in your attempts to deeply understand the other person's point of view, you will be well on your way to energizing and activating the full potential of your social intelligence. French philosopher, social psychologist, and sociologist David Emile Durkheim lived from 1858 until 1917, and yet Durkheim's proposed ideas, theories, and findings are still considered to be the principal building blocks of modern day social science, and Durkheim himself, the father of sociology. Professor Durkheim produced his work during the latter part of the 1800s and the early period of great change, the first decade and a half of 1900. He, along with others in the field, have described social norms, roles, and facts like this. Social norms can be seen as constructs and ideas about society, and facts like this, and social life. Language and verbal acts, For example, using or seeing figures of speech as completely natural objects of reality. Social facts, if you read Durkheim's definition of social facts on the bottom of this slide, um, while I refer to Professor Lee Schaffer's article discussing Durkheim's aphorism, Dr. Schaffer observes that social facts can also be looked at in this way, as cultures are belief systems that coordinate and legitimize human behaviors. Uh, Dr. Greg Henriques, in his Tree of Knowledge Systems, suggests that organizations should be studied as large-scale justification systems. On the individual level, the moral capital of a person or firm amounts to their reputation for habitual morality. On the collective level, the moral capital of a group reflects the rules of conduct the group lives by and enforces that create a favorable environment for concluding mutually advantageous contracts. Social roles have an element of exteriority, which where people are unaware of their own role in the cognitive construction of their experiences of the events of their everyday lives, and also the objective actor who sees or is personally influential themselves in their own constructs and their own behaviors, and then constraints can also be seen as what is the case versus what ought to be the case, as between a moral or ethical quality, which might be viewed as customary and usual, or in the rightness and desirability of what may be perceived as normal social influence. When you, as the leader, must keep in the front of your mind is this very important fact. Society, for most people, is not an abstract term for a conceptual explanation to make sense of social behavior. Rather, society is almost real, a thing to be discovered, not socially constructed. For leaders, however, society must be constructed, managed, and continuously developed with an eye towards improving society, adapting it through processes of change, or shaping its better nature and qualities. In Durkheim's Axiom of Social Authority, we discovered how the realities of social authority are derived through any social interactions which involve the mutually beneficial enactments of the constructs or ideas that a particular society, social act, or social system embraces, along with the externally or internally influenced actors and the moral or ethical constraints adopted by that system or those actors. So leaders can employ speech acts, use language cues, encourage interactions between various cultural or ethnic groups, promote and engage people through stretch assignments and more challenging projects, empower everyone to assume greater leadership roles in visioning, planning, managing, coordinating, or communicating tasks. Using Akerlof's law of transactional quality, leaders can improve upon and increase the robustness, richness, and reliability of the information involved in every conversation, communication, coordination, coaching session, collaboration, interaction, transaction, or exchange between people. In other words, the greater the symmetry of information exchanged between people, the wealthier and more prosperous the ideas, instructions, act, involvements, inspections, or interpretations produced through that exchange, transaction, or interaction. This episode of Leadership Power Paradigms will end in a few minutes from now, and if you stay on till the end, I will give you a link to access your free copy of the infographic of these 5 tasks that you see listed on the slide. Your free infographic is called the 5 Leadership Uplifter Tasks. It's a PDF that easily prints on one sheet of paper, and these 5 tasks will help you improve and increase your leadership effectiveness, or analyze and or identify serious shortfalls and gaps in your leadership performances, and help you activate more powerful social skills and strengthen your social intelligence. When your processes, people, or productions require greater efficiency, you will have to sharpen your management skills and tools. However, for creating new or better things, people, or places to operate in, you will have to elegantly and resourcefully employ leadership actions like those listed on this slide. And what do you need to do or create the right and correct things for your organization? You should exercise, enrich, and energize your leadership resourcefulness by simply using or finding ways to do one or more of these three general activities. For example, if you wish to influence people, clearly or more competently communicate your vision and ideas with greater clarity to help strengthen their commitment to the project, or you could educate, empower, and encourage people to help them create game changing innovations or direct their efforts towards implementing radical change throughout the organization. Want to learn how to deal with most of your leadership challenges? Simple answer. Use the chart on the right to identify your challenge or problem, then select the appropriate or correct type of change or adjustment needed, and then pull out the best type of leadership technique or domain from your own leadership toolkit. And finally, add your deepest insights, strengths, and abilities to empower your leadership practices, processes, and philosophy. And I guarantee that you'll get the job done, and you'll get the job done right too. Professor Franken explains how achieving our maximum potential evolves through developing greater knowledge and understanding about ourselves and other people. Of course, we must examine ourselves, our relations, and our interactions with people to recognize our shortfalls and shortcomings we have in our social IQ. Do you need the gift of keen discernment, or an increase in the amounts of knowledge and understanding required for judging and empowering the abilities of other people? And of course, truly wise leaders like Daniel, the chosen young man of Israel, and you also have the responsibility to humbly ask for, eagerly accept, and decisively receive these gifts from your advisors, your partners, and from God too. Here are 10 super easy ways to increase, improve, and inspire your social skills and the social intelligence IQ of yourself and other people. If you want the full descriptions for just these 10 areas, please send me your requests using the Q&A tab or the question box that you see on the right side of your screen. I will only honor those requests that I receive through that Q&A tab or the question box that is on the right side of your screen. So thank you for that in advance. If you apply your leadership activities to addressing the priorities, practices, processes, principles, purposes, and prescriptions provided in today's episode, I believe you will easily and competently discover ample ways to acquire, analyze, and activate the awesome power of your own social intelligence and the social skills of your people and produce superior outcomes. The impact potentials that high levels of social IQ can contribute to your organization will help your people maximize their effect upon your world, your industry, and your customers. This ends today's lesson. Now, you're looking at the catalog of materials, training, and coaching support, which are featured in my Leadership Power Paradigms Producer Tools program. You can see that this program is designed to dramatically improve your leadership performances and use your leadership strengths to comprehensively empower the achievements of your people. So, right now, this program is available to you at my lowest possible price. So, I urge you to visit the webpage at www.one-im.com/LPP-tools. That's the one, the web link that you see right in the center of this slide. It's in big red letters so that everybody can catch it. Well, sort of red, I guess. And Or you can click on the Enroll and Get Started Now button that you see on the right-hand side of your screen also, because that'll take you to that same website. And when you do click on that button, it'll open up a new web browser tab or web browser window for you so that we don't lose each other and you can still hear me and see what's going on. And you can read through that entire program. There's a lot more to it than just this. This is sort of the what do you call it? The catalog, like I said, of materials and services provided in that. And while you're clicking on that button right now and listening to my voice, and you can do that even if you're on the webinar replay, I'm going to run back over to our handy little control panel here, and so that I can provide you with the links to our two bonus gifts that we have for you as promised. Let's see. The first one is this, and just make sure that it goes through to everybody. So I'll send it out here. All right, and as you were looking at them, as I promised, one of them is a infographic of those 5 leadership uplifter tasks. It is a PDF document. It is only one sheet of paper, so I strongly encourage you to download it and print it and put it on your desk, and keep it on your desk or put it on a wall or something that you can see it as you go through your day. And every leadership action that you take, that infographic is designed to guide you and sort of remind you that, hey, if you're doing one or more of those 5 tasks, then fine, you're doing fine. You'll see your effectiveness really improve greatly. And if you're not doing one of those 5 tasks, then you probably aren't really leading. So that's one thing. And the other bonus gift that we have for you is our 8-page paper, the Words with Wisdom paper. It's 8 pages. It contains the principles, strategies, tips, and other techniques that we've described. Some of them have been described in today's episode of Leadership Power Paradigms, as well as in previous episodes of Leadership Power Paradigms. And I think that'll help you as well. That's what I intended it to do. Both of these are PDF documents, one of which, you could probably print out both of them. Why not? Hey, but definitely print out the infographic, because that will, in fact, if you can really get a high quality printout of that, I think you'll find that, hey, this has been really helpful. If you refer to it every day, you'll see the effectiveness of your performances, as well as the performance qualities of your people improve greatly because of that. Now, if you happen to be on the replay recording of this, and you're watching and you watch this lesson, today's lesson, well, then I encourage you to use the question box that you see on the right-hand side of the screen. For those of you who are here live, well, you also have the chat area where you can send me questions, etc. And I will and just click on the email button or submit button, and type out your question, of course. One of your questions can be, "Oh, can you send me those 10 things that I can do, 10 ways that I can improve my social intelligence?" If you just say, send me the list of 10 social IQ things, um, that's sufficient. I'll know what you're talking about, and I will email you the full descriptions for each one of those 10 things. And let's not forget that those 10 things are only just 10 things. I mean, that's not all that would be required to have a high level of social IQ or social intelligence, but I think it's a pretty good start. Most of us could stand a little bit of improvement in one or more of those areas, so don't worry about it. But I can send you more of a description for each one of those 10 things, so that'll help you as well. And if you have a question or comment, of course, you can still use that question box on the right-hand side of the screen. If you're on the webinar replay, just type that in and click the email button. And before you do type in your question or comment, and before you click the submit button, ask yourself, hey, wait a second, this guy is willing to actually speak with me about my question or my comment. And it can be anything to do with leadership. So don't worry about whether, we covered it in today's episode or not. Anything to do with leadership, just send me your question or comment and include your phone number if you happen to be located in the US or in Canada. Only if you're located in the US or Canada, uh, please send your phone number along with it and I'll give you a call. Otherwise, if you are located outside of the US or Canada, that's outside of the US or Canada, then I would encourage you to include your Skype ID. Just put your Skype ID in there, and I'll send you an invite to be one of my contacts, and then I'll call you on Skype, and we can have a nice little conversation on Skype. That way, I can type in things into the Skype chat area. I can upload articles or papers that might help you to learn a little more about the question or comment that you had about leadership. I can even refer you to websites. I'll even send images that are sort of like even your infographic image. You can get that way too. So anyway, that's why I love using Skype. It's a very rich interface for us to converse or talk on, as well as share documents and also ideas in written format that you can copy and paste into a file that you can have and keep and refer to. So that's a great way of getting some free counseling, advice, coaching, training, whatever you want to call it, free educational resource that you can use. Just be sure to include your Skype ID in your question box area, because I don't know it. I don't know what it is. And so if you do that, then I will reach out to you, and you'll know it's me because my name is in my Skype ID. It's one of my things anyway. So anyway, okay, so I think that's enough talking. I don't see any particular questions or comments from the live group today. So I'm going to say thank you all for joining us in today's episode of Leadership Power Paradigms. This is Bill Thomas. I've been your host and presenter for today's episode. God bless each and every one of you. Godspeed to you all. And I wish each and every one of you the very best of success in all of your leadership endeavors. Take care.